So the big question is this: how are those in the self-storage industry like us going to be successful in today's market? That's the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is Jim Ross, and welcome to the Self-Storage Show. Hi everyone, this is Jim Ross from the Self-Storage Show. In today's episode, we're continuing our ISS World Expo Speaker Spotlight. Today we got John Jordan, co-founder at Go Local Interactive. How's it going, John?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for making the time. I know you're coming up here for ISS. It's in April in Vegas. It's going to be here before we know it. And obviously you're
Yeah.
in the marketing and online marketing. And I saw your topic headline. Like, all right, I got to talk to you because that's an awesome headline. The impact of artificial intelligence and machine learning on self-storage marketing. So it got my attention.
That was the intent. That was the intent. It's a topic that may scare a few people away, but it's definitely something we all need to be aware of and something that's going to have an impact on the industry over the next few years.
I mean, first thing that pops in my mind is like the Matrix or something like that. So maybe that's, I guess, start off with there is like, what does it mean? Artificial intelligence, machine learning. I guess we can start there.
Yeah, I think from a media perspective, it's far less scary than the Terminator movie or whatever you might think of when you think of artificial intelligence. We're really talking about the back end machinery and coding that's done by media companies to really try to gather information, interpret that information, and then give executable options to the user, or in this case, the advertiser, on how they would leverage that data to make their media buys more impactful. And so when we're talking about machine learning and artificial intelligence as it relates to self-storage, we're really talking about leveraging all of the new technology that's being rolled out by Google and Apple and Bing and Amazon and all these huge technology-driven companies that are kind of in a race to create the best mousetrap for not only bringing in consumers, but for allowing advertisers to reach the right consumer at the right time with the right message and make sales. And so it's much simpler and easier when you think of it in that vein. Now the real challenge, I think, in understanding why machine learning and artificial intelligence are important is really just comes down to really understanding what exceeds our capabilities as humans. There is just a massive amount of information that's being gathered on all of us as users and how we behaviorally use the internet to research and shop for the things that we want to purchase or need to purchase. And the ability of a human to comprehend and gather in all that data and interpret it is low compared to the way a machine can take that information in and interpret it. The computing power, as we would call it, it exponentially grows every year. And so that we'll never kind of catch up, if you will, with how quick machines have become at gathering and analyzing all this data. And so with that abundance of data, we've also have this more complex journey, I would call it, that users go on when they're researching and shopping and trying to gather their information before making their buying decisions. And those are all, there's a lot of signals out there that are influencing their behavior at the end of the day. And as we're, constantly surrounded by media in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
And so just kind of taking in all that information and capturing it as a marketer and then trying to interpret it and do that all in a timely manner so that you can react faster than your competition. It's very daunting. And so Google and the technology-driven companies have started to build these technology infrastructures that allow us to better interpret that data and pull out the nuggets we want to better target our potential customers more effectively. Whereas a human may get bogged down with all that, the machines can kind of plow through that data and draw conclusions in milliseconds.
Yeah, and that's what it boils down to is targeting. You're not wasting your marketing dollars. You're targeting it correctly, so you know what that customer wants, and you kind of deliver it to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. it's become very complex, and I know it's easily overwhelming, and that's why I thought this topic would be a good one to help marketers in the self-storage industry specifically understand what are kind of some of the things they should be looking at and considering as additions to their marketing spends, and how they manage their programs. And one area is bidding. Bidding has become more and more challenging as the ways that you can target customers has increased. These auctions that are taking place on Google and Bing and these different search engines, they're dynamic. They're happening ongoing, and as you build out more targeting and more options to go after different types of customers with different products or services, your ability to keep up with all of those bids that are happening in the auction marketplace and make changes kind of real time, in many instances across hundreds of campaigns, is just not feasible. And so Google's built out, as an example, smart bidding as a way to really kind of control and help set the parameters around how you want to bid, using things like bid modifiers and things to really make your bidding more effective, and do it at a faster pace than you could as a general user or human logging in and trying to run the machines yourself.
So that's interesting because yeah, I do that as well. Just trying to do like pay per clicks and and that kind of bidding, and man, it can get
Mm-hmm.
bogged down because there's so many different ways you can skin a cat basically on what kind of keywords, what kind of targeting, all that kind of stuff. And man, the more you can kind of
Yeah.
have some advantage in that way, the better.
Yeah, it may be a little scary, but as an example, Google collects over 2,000 data points on every user. They know what devices you own and use. They connect those devices and how your search behavior varies across those devices. So they know what you're typically searching for on your mobile device versus your laptop versus your tablet at home. They draw a lot of data in from that, just your behavior. They know a lot about you and what your interests are and your likes, and then they allow you as a marketer to kind of leverage that data. As I mentioned, through smart bidding, that's one way. Remarketing is another. That's one that's been around for a while, but it's taken to another level now. So you can see who visits your website and then essentially target ads to follow those people around if they don't end up transacting with you until they do transact, maybe offering. We've all probably seen this in our own user behavior. We've gone out and
Mm-hmm.
let's say we were looking at a camera, and then the next day we're out searching for something completely different, and we notice that same camera is sitting there in an ad on the side, but it's got a special deal attached to it now. That's remarketing. These companies have gotten very sophisticated in leveraging the data and the targeting capabilities that are available to them. So remarketing has been around for a while. We're all kind of familiar with it now. But what is new is the ability to leverage all of these various data points that Google gives us. So we can literally segment our own existing customer base. We can take a database of our customers. We can upload it directly to our Google AdWords account, as an example. And Google will take that data, match it up against all the user profiles they have for those customers, and then give us back the 2,000 data points they have on those users, so that we can then better understand from Google's perspective who those people are and who they are behaviorally, demographically, and everything Google has on them. And then we can layer that over our remarketing and say, yeah, we had 1,000 people visit our website, but only 100 of them fit the profile of my best customers. So I want to remarket to those individuals as opposed to remarketing to everyone who has ever come to my website. So we're adding all these additional capabilities now through the artificial intelligence and the machine learning that really allows us to become even better as marketers.
Well, and that's what it's all about is marketing, 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 and there's always different ways and different tools that you can utilize. And this just came up literally 2 days ago for me, and I was
Mm-hmm.
studying retargeting, like you were just talking about, and how that works for like a pre-roll YouTube videos. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like people are searching for self-storage or something in my area, and then they don't do anything
Hmm.
with it for a while, but then you can kind of retarget that person, and next thing you know, they're on YouTube, and well, what pops up as they're watching the video is, hey, it's a promo for your site, because it'd be like a pre-roll YouTube. It's there's so much you can do when you utilize the technology right. It's just not being scared or afraid of it, just learning about it. That's why I want to come to your presentation, because at least you're opening everyone's eyes to what's possible out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought up YouTube because it's a terrific channel that is highly unleveraged for the storage industry.
Oh
I
yeah.
think everyone seems intimidated by what it would take to have a successful video marketing campaign, and it's not at all hard. You could literally stand in selfie mode and put together a video that can get millions of views. You know, I always use the plumber example. The guys, when you go out there and search on YouTube for videos to do anything from a plumbing perspective, the guys that have the most views are these plumbers that are literally standing there with their phone at arm's length, videoing themselves doing some kind of plumbing work in a given home,
Mm-hmm.
and they're getting millions of views. There's no sophisticated camera crew. There's no predetermined scripts or anything that are being done in those instances. It's just someone out there literally answering the question of the user and saying, "Hey, this is how you solve this problem that you have." And I think that in a lot of instances, you know, it would be founded to have really nice, well-produced video, but that's not always the case. There's a lot of times where you just need to answer questions for customers, and that can be done fairly simply and effectively, on a low budget, and then you just go out and you market it. And the really cool thing about YouTube specifically is that as a Google-owned property, you're able to leverage all of that customer segmentation I mentioned earlier. So you can
Mm-hmm.
literally upload, as I said, that customer database and create some audience profiles and segments that you want to go after with your video targeting. You can also leverage the data that Google has. They have a very robust life event targeting option on YouTube where you can go after people who recently are planning a wedding or obviously a more relevant topic, moving. That's one of the categories they offer for self-storage marketers to utilize on YouTube is in their targeting is moving, having a child. All these life events that are cues for the need for self-storage are available to you and can be used as targeting options. The one you were mentioning a second ago is more like an in-market audience. So Google has all this data, all these user signals they're pulling in across different Google properties, and they're leveraging that to allow you as a marketer to reach people who are, through their behavior, indicating they might be in the market for the products and services you're offering by directly searching for them or visiting websites of your competition.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's so much to learn, and just
There
what's going
definitely
out there.
is.
It kind of makes your head swim. But and you were talking about being able to film a video. It doesn't have to be clean and polished. And there's points where you can for branding and that you want to have a nice little video. But I'm all
Yeah.
for the social media aspect of it, and just having the manager say, hey, talk about today's come on down for the special, or giving a promo like that. It gives it more
Yeah.
authenticity, I guess. I guess you should put it that way. It's just, it's the human factor that's not going to get replaced. You still want to have that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And if you have one of these immaculate, nice looking facilities, why not show it off with video? Have your manager walking around the property showing users exactly what they can expect when they show up. Walking them through a unit and saying, here's a unit, have, some people on staff pack that unit and show them, through a video series, how much you can actually fit into a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 15. It's such an infrequent purchase for most consumers that, you have to figure out what are the things that are maybe common knowledge for us or not common knowledge for them. And that's a question that I can potentially answer through video.
Yeah, I'm playing around with this idea that actually an owner brought it up to me. I'm like, that's pretty genius. Because we were talking about how to, this is more of a marketing aspect of it, but how to accentuate the features and benefits of the site. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm all about video. I love video, video, video. I'm like, well, one of them is
Yeah.
security, obviously. And we were talking
Hmm.
about what it would take to do a little montage strictly through the video camera footage. You start at one camera,
Yeah.
and as you're walking, you go to the next camera, and as you're walking, go to the next camera, and that's kind of a facility tour slash showing how secure your facility is. So there's all sorts of different creative things you can do when it comes to marketing that way.
Yeah, and that's what we would encourage our advertisers to do is just to try to think through those creative ideas and what's reasonable, what's not. There's some things that, maybe over the top from a cost perspective to do, and those all aren't necessary in our opinion. There's just so many ways that you can target users now effectively. You just need to be able to create a message that will, again, answer questions for them and move them closer to at the end of the day, move them closer to the actions you want them to take. Pick up the phone and call you, or fill out that online reservation form, or go through into the facility themselves and transact there. I guess in terms of answering that question about continuing down the path of answering that question about how machine learning and artificial intelligence can be used in storage, I've hit on a few of those things, like leveraging the data points that Google has available, by uploading some of your own customer database list to your AdWords account and having Google give you back all this really robust, rich data about these people, not just demographically, but behaviorally, so that you could then set up your own audience segments to target differently. And I would encourage you to look at your listeners to look at their own customer database and segment it, so that maybe if you want to target a specific type of customer, pull out your best customers from your database and upload those separately. Title them in your upload on Google so that you can understand these are my high-end best customers, and use those as a different profile to target than your general database of all your customers, so that you can kind of measure those two against each other and see if you can effectively target those higher value customers through that audience segment you set up. And then leverage Google's data to find what they call similar audiences. And you can do this on Facebook as well. Through your upload of your existing customer database, Google can, use all those 2,000 data points, as can Facebook, to create a profile and then find what they call a similar audience to your customer base to then target, people that would be more prone to be your customer in the future. So leveraging that, bid modifiers, I mentioned the in-market audiences. One thing that's often missed that I always tell customers, kind of a no-brainer, is once you upload your existing customer list, why not exclude them from seeing your ads? There may be a reason for them to see certain ad campaigns you're running that you want your existing customer base to see, but why do you want to pay for clicks that for customers who are just going to come pay their bill every month? So a really easy, low-hanging fruit I often see is just exclude your existing customers from seeing your ads, and that should save you a little bit on your ad cost every month and allow you to free that money up to go after people who are potential customers.
Yeah, it saves you the have to deal with. Well, can I move out and move back in and get that special you're advertising? I get that a lot.
Yeah, there's always the heartburn around showing your existing customers a better deal than they're getting. So yeah, you can hopefully avoid that in a lot of instances as well. Using this machine learning, though, it's got to become more commonplace in the industry for us to really catch up with other industries that are out ahead of us. And if you're the smaller to mid-sized operator, to keep up with the large operators, you're going to really have to learn what can be leveraged to do so, so that you can get better budget allocation and distribution throughout the month and ensure you're getting the best bang for your buck. The other thing I always point to as well is the more time you can free up from making all of these different adjustments the manual way, now you can use that time to do, other things that are meaningful as well. Set up, do better creative optimization. Now you have more time to spend on coming up with different ad executions that you can use and test against each other. You can spend more time on the back end of once you've driven that customer to your website, now starting to monitor your website and track user experience and how can I improve the experience once the customer is already on my website to convert them more there. So there's always a good use of your time if you can leverage the tools that are available to you to become more efficient. Now you can free up that time to do something else that's even can make you even more impactful in your marketing dollars.
Oh, no, totally. Well, I'm excited. You've kind of already whet my appetite to definitely come and see your presentation and delve more into it because I know we only talked for about 15, 20 minutes here. But yeah, to be able to hear an entire hour of this is going to be very beneficial because, again, it's a whole world out there. And I hate to knock my own industry, but you kind of talked about it before. We're kind of behind the times in a lot of other industries. So if we don't, and then the players that are utilizing this technology, you're going to get left in the dust. So no, you want to keep up on this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. The self-storage industry, our company, Go Local, works in about 30 different industries, and we've been fortunate enough that self-storage has become one of the more prominent industries we work in over the last 5 or 6 years. But we can definitely see that there are areas where this industry lags others. And our goal is to help educate and bring the industry up to speed so that hopefully everyone will from a user side, will have a better experience, and from a marketer side, we can reach the customers we're hoping to reach more easily and effectively. And in terms of more stuff to digest for the presentation, I can promise you there will be a lot more. We talk about the whole human element and if it's still necessary or not. That'll be part of my presentation. We'll also be talking about the impact of all of this artificial intelligence and machine learning on the software systems we select, the CRM systems we select, things we should be doing with our website. There's even an effect on our offline media, if you can believe it or not, and things that you should consider that may even be more effective in a digital space than some of that offline media that we're running today. So there's definitely a lot more to this subject.
And you're going to squeeze us in 50 minutes. All right. Good luck.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I have a feeling there'll be a lot of questions and discussions after the presentation.
So you're going to be stuck in the hallway for 6 hours after this presentation. I have a feeling. So get ready for that. Well, good. And your presentation is what looks like it's Wednesday, April 3rd. So again, everyone, yeah, for ISS show at the Mirage this year, we're changing venues, so that's gonna be fun. So April 1st to the 4th, and you're speaking Wednesday, April 3rd at what, 8 o'clock? Well, you're bright and early.
Yep. Yeah, it's an early one. Everyone have their coffee, please. It's hard to hear about the technology that early in the morning.
Well, perfect. Well, again, thanks a lot, John, for taking the time, and I'll see you in Vegas.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me again.
All right, wonderful. Take care. See ya.
Thanks so much.